Right. Hey, we're live. Welcome, everybody. For those of you just tuning in, appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for watching. If you're catching the rerun of this or you're hitting this up on YouTube, thank you so much. My name is David Bradley. This is part of the 10X Goals and Accountability Facebook page and group. The purpose of this group is to literally help other 10Xers, like-minded people looking to create real success in their life, not only set the right goals and have the right mindset, but man, stay accountable, right? This is not something that you can do on your own. You need help, and you need people that are out there in the trenches just like you doing this every single day. So what I wanted to do today is sit down with my good buddy, David Perez. David runs Liberty Tax. He's got 9 locations and Freedom Insurance as well. He's got 9 locations out in Texas. He's been doing this for 9 years. He's got goals. He's got dreams. He's on point. I've talked to him on multiple occasions, had dinner with him. This guy's focused, and he's on point. So what I want to do today to help you, those of you that are watching, is pick his brain a little bit about who he is, what he does, where he's going, what he's already accomplished, and how and what his plans are for getting there. So, David, thank you so much for being here, man.
Great, man. Thanks for having me, by the way.
Heck yeah, dude. Yeah, I love chatting with you, and so we might as well make it. Let's help everybody else too while we're just having these cool conversations that we usually have. So let's just let the people watching know exactly, who are you and what do you do?
So thanks, man, again for having me. And my name is David again. I have been in the financial services business for about 9 years now. I like to say I deal with things that are really well known, but pretty much misunderstood: taxes and insurance. Both of those things are financial services, but a lot of people like to think they understand both of those, but really it's not. A lot of people try to find their own insurance online. A lot of people try to do their own taxes, but to be quite honest, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. And so we pride ourselves as being the expert and the authority in both of those industries. And I've been in this business for about 9 years, but in those short 9 years, I've gained a lot of knowledge and expertise from building my by building a team, by building a business model that's been very successful. So I've really enjoyed what I do and what I've done. And most importantly, I just love business, man. It isn't necessarily about taxes or insurance. I just love business.
Right on. What do you think? So you mentioned you've learned some lessons. I mean, what's the biggest lesson you've learned building basically 9 businesses?
Biggest lesson, man, is that you can't do it alone, and you got to have a good support system. And I classify that support system as people that are willing to help you. And I don't mean people that you're willing to pay, and in some cases you might have to, but I mean people that are just genuinely care about your success. And typically that's people that are way more successful than you. And that's what I found over the years. It's not necessarily the people that or who have been in business. It's somebody who just achieved such a great level of success that their mission, their life's duty now is just to help others become successful like them. And finding those people and seeking them out, not necessarily maybe on a personal level by reading about them or watching a video on them, has really helped me understand that, it's not just about David, it's about helping others and most importantly, finding people who can help me.
Oh man. See, I love that. So that's an interesting observation, because you're coming from a place you're on your way up, right? You've already achieved success in your life. So how are you being that for somebody else right now? And is that part of your why? What's your motivation, right? So when I think about my whys, I know so working for Grant Cardone, I want to give sales training to other people because it's something I didn't get when I first started. I spent my first couple months in the car business totally winging it, and I had no help at all. And so now I'm in an opportunity to give that to other people, right? So what's your why?
So my why is helping others. Now that may sound really cliche, man. I know that because many people will say it. It's really a cliche thought, right? Yeah, of course you want to help others, but really, as I've learned things, I really, one of my favorite statements is, that which we teach, we need most. Mm-hmm. And over the years, as I learned stuff, I'm like, the only way that I can actually apply it in this world to my business, to my life, is if I help others understand it. So early on, I started reading books, and I read books by Tony Robbins and, Les Brown and, Peter Drucker and all these really great authors, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book, and I started reading all these books, and the thoughts and the ideas that I would get, I thought, man, I can't hold these in my head. I had to share them. So the moment that I started sharing them is the moment that it really changed for me. It was because now I actually got reiterated that message over and over and over again. And now there are things that just live within me. I just understand these sayings. I understand life so much better because of it. So my purpose, my why is to help others. And I mean, obviously it started a little more simplistic. It was to help my parents or my family. I knew that I was going to be a provider for them. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do that, I can't do that working 8 to 5, making, $8 an hour. I mean, no disrespect to that kind of income. It's just, I knew that wasn't going to support more than me. And I thought, if I want that, I gotta start, planning now. And so I started that early. And then I thought, well, by the way, right now I don't have children. So I thought about that, and I thought, you know what, I can't bring a child in this world until I know that I'm financially stable. So I haven't done that yet, and there's just so many whys in my life, but usually it's always been about somebody else. It really has not always been about David, even though I like to say that, of course, I love the finer things, and of course I enjoy life. And of course I enjoy the fruits of my labor, but ultimately, I mean, I can't leave this world with anything. I came in the same way I'm going to leave the way I came in, naked and afraid and, with my eyes closed. So I might as well do something that's going to impact, you can leave a legacy. You can't leave a liability for people.
Right. No, leave it better than the way you found it, which I love. So can we go back to this quote? You said, that which we teach, we need the most.
Correct.
So that's deep. Yeah, expand on that though. Like, what does that mean to you?
Well, when I talk to people about, saving money or planning for retirement or being healthy, living a healthier lifestyle by eating correctly or exercise, I say that to people because I know that's something that I need the most in my life. I have to share it. By the way, I'm a big believer. You must practice what you preach. I'm a big believer in that. I shouldn't walk into an office. I shouldn't go to my house. I shouldn't go with my family and tell them, hey, you guys need to change the way you're acting, and you guys are totally not doing life the right way. And you need to get a raise, and you got to invest in skills and put your money here and do these things when I'm not doing them myself. Right. And so if I'm going to do it, if I'm going to preach it, I gotta know it. And so every time that I teach it, it becomes ingrained in my head over and over and over again. And then it becomes just a habit or a discipline. And so every time I teach something, I think of it as building a discipline in my body, in my head, something that I'm going to continue to do for the rest of my life. As long as I say it enough times, pretty much I would call it similar to an affirmation, right? Yeah, I'm affirming it in my life every day, every time I preach, every time I teach.
Yeah, totally, man. And so that means you're leading from the front. When I was a kid, you just reminded me of the exact opposite. When I was growing up as a little kid, I'd have family members. It would be like, oh, it's horrible for you. Don't ever get started with this, right? And so like I never understood that. Like, well, why are you doing it if it's so bad? And I never understood that. And it's like it's credibility. The fact that you're like leading from the front, setting the tone, set the right example. That's fantastic. So we're, obviously what we want to talk about, is our goals and our accountability and stuff like that. What is the biggest goal that you've set so far that you've hit?
So, when I first really started in business, all I could think about is things. I'll be honest with you. It was like, I'm going to have to buy a new house and I want a new car and I want to make $1 million. I kept on thinking the materialistic stuff in life. And even today, I still think like that in some regards. I'm not going to lie, but I would tell you that, when I first got into business, I thought business was easy. I thought I was going to open up a shop and which was a tax office at the time, and I was just going to knock it out of the park, and I was going to be rolling in dough in no time. and first year I actually did very well, man. I top 5 in the country for the Liberty Tax franchise, and I was amazed. I mean, I thought, man, if I could just do this with more than one store, I would be very successful. I had a really rude awakening early on, and I was pretty much, I didn't succeed on my second year. I actually failed pretty miserably. And I realized then it wasn't going to be an easy road. And so over the years, I've just kind of started setting smaller goals, right? At first, it was maybe the number of stores, maybe it was the number of customers. And then I realized, those aren't really real goals for me. I thought, well, it could be customers, it could be stores, but really, I mean, everything is driven by revenue. And I would always just think I have to have more customers. I have to have more stores, and I get more customers means more money. Get more stores means more money, but I didn't really think of it like revenue. I wasn't really a business owner back then. I was more of a dabbler. It was kind of like a side piece to me in some ways. I don't know why I thought like that, but I did. And over the years, I've just started thinking, okay, if I want to in this for the long haul, if the only way that I'm going to make this and I'm going to be successful is I focus on revenue. If I'm going to make more money. And it isn't about money in my pocket. It's about money for the business, right? I gotta scale this business, because we always say that individuals, even myself, I've said it all my years, I want to help people. I want to do more. And so early on, I would give a lot away. I would give a lot away. I would give returns away, tax returns away. I would do things for free. I would help a lot of people. I would give advice for free. I would do all these things. I mean, giving literally hundreds of thousands of dollars away in free stuff, because I felt that it was my obligation to the community just to give back. And then, a few years ago, I ended up in a big financial hole, and I thought, what the hell did I do? I put myself in $1 million debt. I mean, I really did. I was $1 million in debt 3 years ago. $1 million, $1 million in debt. And I thought, what is this? What good is it if I just give away all day, every day, and expect to continue to be successful? It's not possible. The only way that I could do more is if I had more. And so it really changed for me about 3 or 4 years ago when I started thinking, dude, you just got to make more money. I love Grant Cardone, and obviously that's the company that you work for, and that's somebody I've invested in. Is he says that really well. You can't help others when you don't help yourself, right? And you got to help yourself. The solution to almost every problem today is just have more money. And so I knew that I couldn't help others. And more importantly, I couldn't offer opportunities to others. Like we're a seasonal business. I was a seasonal business at one point, and I knew that I had to get out of that seasonality. That's why I added insurance. And I said, my goal is to have year-round employment positions for people. Why do I want to employ them for 4 years when I can employ them for 40 years or 4 years or whatever that looks like for them? But I wanted to give those opportunities. So my goal about 3 years ago was saying, okay, I'm $1 million in debt. I got to get out of this debt, and I got to increase my sales. And I told myself that this year I would hit $1.5 million in sales, and I did it. And I did it easy. And so I thought, man, if I did that, I could do more, right? And so it was a mindset shift to think that money is not bad. It's not evil. It doesn't hurt people. The love of it does, but I don't love money. I love what money can do for me, for my friends, for my family, for my business, for the people around me. I love to be the guy that takes care of people, not because it's a macho thing. It's because it's my duty. It's my job. It's what I was put on this earth to do. And I can't do it without money, and I can't do it without revenue. So 1.5 million was my goal, and we did it. We hit it.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you remember that movie? It's called Car Wash.
What is it called? You broke up. No, I don't think I've seen that.
Okay, so it's like 70s flick, man. It's this whole thing about it, the car wash, but the soundtrack is so good. It's like this 70s funk. There's a song on the soundtrack. I've been listening to funk when I go running. But one of the
funk.
Yeah, one of the songs is called Daddy Rich, and it's like this preacher guy talking about money. And he says in the song, money may be the root of all evil, but it's also the answer to a whole lot of our problems.
You're right, man.
Yeah.
You're totally right. Right. I love that saying. I don't remember who said it, but it was like, a lot of people say that, money causes more problems, right? Everybody says that money can cause more problems. It's just that's a poor man's mentality. But I mean, everybody says that money's evil, but everybody wants to find out what it feels like, right? To have it. Nobody wants to believe it.
You're going to have those problems either way, right? There's problems that come with not having money, and there's problems that come with having money. And frankly, I'll take the ones that come with having money than the ones that not.
Attaboy, man.
Right?
Attaboy.
But what I think was cool and what I really liked about what you were touching on too is where you talked about how like you had these material goals. And have you found that the sort of as the older and the wiser that you get and the more success you create for yourself, the material goals, do they tend to find themselves connected to a higher purpose?
Yeah, I actually do. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we're going the same direction, but I feel like if I set a materialistic goal, something that I need, I feel like that ties in with making me feel that what I'm doing is worth it. And I don't mean it because of the material. I just feel like I have to physically see the results of my labor.
Right.
And I think in some regards, not necessarily because, materialistic things are the best things in the world, but I think sometimes if I can wake up and get into a car that I love, or wake up in a house that I love, or, that makes me feel good about what I'm doing every day. And I think some people put themselves in a position, even very wealthy people don't want to splurge or be, extravagant in some things, right? I'm thinking, but we can't take it with us. And I'm not trying to blow all my money. That's not what I'm saying, right? But I think that my higher purpose and my higher calling is to give it away. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, two of the top 5 richest men in the world, have said they're giving away everything they ever earned before they die. Like, isn't that remarkable? I mean, that's freaking remarkable. I mean, 60-something billion dollars given away. Golly, man, that's a purpose. By the way, that's purpose. If I ever seen it, that's amazing.
Yeah, I always like when it starts getting into like material stuff. Like if you want a bigger house, it's like, well, what are you going to do with that bigger house? Or like if I've talked to a sales team and we're looking at what their goals are, and someone says, well, I want this. I want to have this much money. And it's like, well, why is that? Like, what are you going to do with it when you get it? Because that's really the more important piece of it. I talked to a guy that just wanted to take his daughter to Disneyland, right? And so having the money to do that was going to cost about $10,000 to do it the way he wanted to do it. And the fact that, and so we, the fact that he knew that, but it wasn't just, I need 10 grand, because that doesn't mean anything. But I want to take my daughter to Disneyland. Like, that's what gets you in the feels. That's what's motivating. That's what gets you going.
Yeah. By the way, I don't want to get off topic here, but I always, I try to, every time we get new agents or new people who come into our organization from the tax or the insurance side, I try to do a goal setting piece with them. And one of the things that we talk about is just like picking one goal, and we create a SMART goal worksheet for them, and, setting a SMART goal. And the one thing that always surprises people is that even though they may have a goal that they kind of think about, they really don't understand why they're trying to do it, nor have they ever put a plan in place to get it. And so I always think about it like that. And you just tied it in very well, because, that people will say, like, I want to take my kids to Disney this year. But I mean, they don't really understand why. And you got to find it. And that why is, well, because I didn't get that experience when I was a kid, and this is something that I could provide. If all I did was X, Y, and Z, this would come to me, and it would show my children how much I love them, because that wasn't given to me at one point, and that's my responsibility. I think that when parents, and I say this because I'm not a parent, but I think when parents think about it, you have to see this as a contribution to your children, because life is supposed to get better for them, not the same. I mean, it's supposed to get better. And I think that's a higher purpose in itself, man. I don't even have children, but I think about that often. Like when my kids are here, man, I got to give them a better life than I ever thought I could ever have, because they deserve it, because that's what I worked my ass off for, right?
So you hit that target of it was 1.5, right? Now what's next?
Okay. So that was sales, right? So now it's bigger than that for me. My goal, and I set this goal, by the way, at 25. This goal I've had since I was 25. Today I'm 33. I turned 34 in 3 days. And I had a goal at 35 that I would net $1 million net. And I mean, I can't say that I'm 100% on track to hit it, but I want to hit it. And at first, it was very vague back then. I've clarified it over the years. It used to make $1 million. Well, that's been done a long time ago. And that's a brag or anything, but that's been done. But I mean, making $1 million in sales isn't a lot of money, because if you pay all your bills and pay everybody you owe and share with everybody that you have to share with, there's really not a lot of money left, right? So, I mean, we could all make $1 million, but that doesn't, you don't know how much my overhead is, right? So I want to net it by next year. By next November 5th, I want to net $1 million.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So what are you doing on the regular or on the daily to help keep yourself accountable to that? And then do you have a support group or a support network, if you will, behind you, pushing you towards that?
Well, I would tell you that one of the things that I do on a daily basis is write down my goals. And that's actually the first thing I write down. I'm going to net $1 million, and I put the date. Net $1 million, the date. Net $1 million, the date. I do it every day, by the way. If I don't write any other goal, I write that one. So I beat myself up with this, man. I write into my book, my journal every day. So that's one thing that I do. The next thing is I've shared this goal with my team. I don't believe necessarily that $1 million will all be mine. I believe I can net it, and I believe I can give it away. And I think there are a lot of people in my organization that work with me, not for me, that work with me, that probably deserve a piece of that. And I think that if I share that with them, and I share that my intentions of growth and prosperity and gifts, I think, and I don't mean gifts monetarily, I mean like the gift of ownership, the gift of partnerships, the gift of contributions. I think those things are going to come from it. And then, of course, having access to coaching and mentoring with people that I've met over the years. Now, a lot of this stuff is not paid mentoring or paid coaching, but I've got people in my life who hold me accountable on the finance side, a guy who accountability on the coaching and mentoring side for business. And just because they know I can give them value, they give me value, and it's really helped me. So I have a few people that I reach to pretty often who ask me where I'm at, what I'm doing, what I'm focused on. Then I have, my team where they tell me, David, you're not right. And it's so funny. Just recently, one of my district managers beat me up pretty bad, telling me that I was doing everything wrong. And I don't mean like they said I was being a bad person. They meant like you're focused, you might be focused, but you're focused on the wrong things. And I thought that was really cool, because that actually got me back in line again. And I thought, okay, yeah, you're right. We got to focus here. But ultimately, Dave, what I would say is my goal isn't to think about money every day, by the way. It's not. And I don't mean that because of what we're saying. I mean, I really don't. I don't look at my bank account every day. I do check my expenses probably once a week, but I don't look at my bank account every day. I don't look at the sales logs every day, although I should. The reason that I don't is really I just talk about helping people. And I know the more people we touch, the more people we help, the more money will come. I mean, I know that for a fact. So I'm not concerned about it. I don't want to beat people up for not making a production sale. I want to beat people up because the customer's pissed off and people aren't happy. That's really what beat people up over.
You want to make $1 million, find a way to help 1 million people.
Or I want to be a billionaire. You get 1 billion people, right?
So one of the things, whenever I talk to groups about, tying their goals into their daily activities, the big question then becomes, once you know what the goal is and where you want to go and how you want to get there, it's like, well, what do you not know about getting there? What do you not know about accomplishing that goal? What do you not know about, if it comes back to sales? It's like, well, what do I not know about selling that's preventing me from accomplishing what I'm after? So, which sort of leads me to the final question, and this would be, weaving all this together, is I think, how do you guys have been on Cardone University just over a year now. How do you, David, how are you using Cardone University on a daily basis to help, plug in the gaps in where you don't know, or just to stay on point or stay focused towards your goals? How are you using Cardone University to accomplish all this?
So Cardone University, by the way, and I don't want to go on for a long time, but I will reference a few things. I started following Grant Cardone probably about 18 months ago, so probably last summer. And man, did I read almost every one of his books. And I got into the fall. And by the way, in my business, just to reference everybody in here, because everybody's business, we should all be sharing what type of businesses we have. My business is not really a sales business. It's an educational business. It's an enrollment business. It's a service, not a sale. And so every time I would recruit and hire and train people, sales was really never my goal. Because to be very honest with you, most people think sales is a dirty word, right?
Yep.
I mean, dirty word. Nobody wants to be sold. They want to buy. So I never thought about sales training the way that Grant talked about it. I always thought that sales was a dirty game and everybody was trying to sell me something. Until I really listened to Grant, understood that, sales is not sales, man. You're really helping people make decisions that are going to really change their lives. There's nothing about persuasion or tricking or manipulation. It's more of a understanding who your audience is and how you can provide them the right product and service that best fits their needs, and handling the objections that they're going to bring at you, because life is complicated, relationships are complicated, and we as individuals don't have the confidence and the tools that we need to handle these situations. Inherently, we're not born with them. And a guy like Grant and his team and David here have really put together this tool, this training university called Cardone University, Cardone U. And we purchased or invested in Grant Cardone University or Cardone University last year around this time, because of all the information that I got from Grant, all the things that I read in his books. And I realized that my team had picked up my habits of sales, which weren't very good. And I thought, if I want to take my business to the next level, it's not worth me sitting down and getting all my managers in a room and telling them exactly how they should be acting or doing or training. Because don't get me wrong, I would do it gladly, but in order to scale your business, you've got to leverage. And leveraging was Cardone U. And I said, this is an investment that I'm going to make, even though it was a large one, because you signed that contract with me. It was the large investment. I thought, and by the way, David, when we talked, remember I told you I'm going to talk it over with my team.
Yeah.
I want you to know that I didn't call my business partner. I have a business partner on one side of my business. I didn't call him and ask him if I could make this investment. I really didn't care. Not because we don't have those conversations. I just thought, I know the ops, he doesn't. I know what we need. I went to my management team and I sat down with them and I had them read a Grant Cardone book. And I said, what do you think? And they said, dude, we need this. Sorry, man. So I said, we need this. And they said that we needed it. So we made that investment. And today, or over the last year, what we've done is incorporated Cardone U into our daily activities. Meaning we've got X amount of, it's usually 3 to 5, what would we call them? What's the term? Segments, a segment, 3 to 5 segments that we have to go through on a daily basis. And we do that and we answer the questions and we go through it and I go and monitor it. But on top of that, on our daily conference call, because we still have a daily call, and it's not a sales call, it's an operations call. But inside of our operations call, we have each department represented in there that we can talk about what's going on in our own departments. And the last part of every call is a sales department. And we talk about a Cardone U segment. We actually watch it together. We answer the questions together. We call people out on the call. Nice. So they have to be paying attention. And then we say, hey, what's the answer to this, right? And we walk them through. And then, we'll do the boot camps together. It's just been really interactive with them. And by the way, I don't want you guys to get on this. And I say this because obviously, David, you're going to use this and say, hey, if it's helping him, it could probably help you. And I 100% believe it. Yeah. And so what I would say is, if you haven't already made this commitment, you should. But don't get disappointed when you miss it 3 or 2 days, because I do it often. I'm not going to lie, I'm not perfect, but this has really truly changed our business. Our sales force is different, and it's because we're not even a sales business still today, but their mentality of sales has changed. And if David, I always talk about this now, and I even talked about it on my live video last night. Life is a commission, right? And you're selling everything every day. And when Grant explained that very well to me, and man, it's changed my life. I've done more than I've ever been expected of me. I have given more to get more. I've done more because I know that every time I do something a little bit more, whatever that is, for somebody, for something, I know that it comes back tenfold, 10 times, 10x, baby. I know it does. And I've lived it, man. I enjoyed Cardone U, bro. I love it, man. And I thank you. And by the way, this guy's a salesman. So I thank my salesman. And not in a nasty, dirty, sleazy way. This guy's a true world-class salesman, David Bradley, man. He's a badass.
That's humbling to hear. I think anytime you have a product or a service that helps and serves and makes people become better than they were, anytime you're in a field that does that, it's kind of a no-brainer, and it's easy. It's easy to push.
Yeah. What you're just trying to say is I don't have to sell this thing; it sells itself. That's what I heard.
It does. Even still, but there are challenges to signing up for this thing. The number one reason why people don't get on board is they're afraid their people aren't going to use it, or they don't have the confidence that they're going to be able to get full engagement and get the ROI that other people have, right? So my job becomes helping them become certain that they can do it.
Well, Dave, and I would tell you that the reason that they probably haven't really seen that true effect is because they haven't built a culture around development. And you've got to do that. That's part of your culture. That's part of personal development, should be part of every single culture of every organization across this world. I'm a firm believer that culture equals health, and in that health of your mental health, personal development, physical health, how you feel about yourself is going to portray how you're going to appeal to the customer. There's so much entanglement, right? I love it. And if we don't push those in our businesses today, man, we're going to have a bunch of robots running this industry. All of these industries, man.
How many hours a week would you say you invest in you?
How many hours a week?
Yeah. So working out, personal development, training, Cardone University, like how much, if you had to put a number on it, how many hours a week?
Personal development or just Cardone U? Which one?
Personal development, just all of it. Like
okay. So if I include working out and all those things,
the CrossFit.
From about 4:50 or 4:45 when I get in my car, I automatically turn on an audiobook or a video of some sort on YouTube. I don't watch the video, but I have YouTube Red. By the way, YouTube Red, dude, if you don't own it, get it. So anyways, from 4:50 till about 8 a.m. every morning, I'm absorbing something. Now, probably for an hour or so, I don't know why these alarms are going off, but probably for an hour or so, I'm working out. But before I get to the gym, and from about 6:25 till 8 a.m., I am just listening and absorbing something, from Cardone U to a book to a YouTube video, to something positive in my life. And it may not be something positive like motivational, but rather something educational, something teaching me about something. If I'm learning about new practices in our industry, if I'm trying to hear somebody who's doing a TED talk about something that's just really interesting. Right. If I'm not listening, I'm reading. I tell my team all the time, I have my phone in my hand, and you may think I'm just on Facebook, but then I click on an app and I'm looking at, what's new in the trends of car sales, or what's happening in the tech industries, and all those things that I'm paying attention to that probably have really no relations to what I'm doing in business, but had everything for me to know about, a grasp on the economy and how it's going to impact my business over the long haul, or who's making the big moves in every industry, so that at least I know that it may impact me at one point. People think that they don't have to read or hear about things that just aren't related to what they do, but everything is related to everything in life. And if we have to see it that way, there's a cause and effect to everything. And that's the way I see life. So probably 2 hours, man, two hours at least every day.
And so for those of you watching at home, take that, right? You've got a guy who is on the road to creating massive amounts of success for himself, his future family, where he's going to be. And he's putting 2 hours a day minimum into making himself better. And he's already good. That's the most important thing that I want hopefully people to take away, is that you're already good. But every day you got to either be sharpening your saw or finding that little spot, that one little piece that you can do with you to become better. Man, David, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I always love chatting with you. You're a fun dude to hang out with. And I know we'll be seeing you in February at the 10X Growth Con, right? 10X
Growth Con 2018, bro. Hey, by the way, we didn't talk about this, but wasn't that freaking awesome to see Grant, Uncle G, sitting center Man, right behind home plate with his
wife. Right at the game. That's right.
Dude, wasn't that awesome?
Right there. There's a nice little 10X hat staring up at you.
Good. You know, by the way, for those of you who have not followed Grant Cardone, I did share this on my page. So there are a few people who are watching this that aren't Grant Cardone. Even they don't know anything about the guy. When you watch him, don't get caught up in all the flash and the money. That even though it drives what he does, he's not about money. But what he did last night was he made an impression on many people, and that's his goal. That's his goal, is to be loud.
Obscurity.
And, yeah, man. Yeah. Get away from obscurity. And he was raised in it, and he's getting away from it. And it's because the more people that know you, they can flow you, baby. And
right.
Dude, that was the best damn flow of the year, man. I was so lit, man. I was texting my buddies and my team, check out this. I took a picture of him on the screen. I was like, look, Uncle G's on TV. This guy's a badass.
I was joking about it. I was like, hey, Grant Cardone's on TV tonight. Apparently there's a baseball game going on somewhere.
There's truth to this, bro. There's truth. I was really excited to see, you know, we funded that success, and I like to say that willingly. I gave it away because, to be honest with you, the guy deserves every prop because he's helped me become who I am today. Nice. And I assume the same for you.
That's awesome, dude. So, hey, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. Appreciate that. So, if anybody wants to get your services, what's the fastest way to find you?
Fastest way, you can find me at facebook.com/D as in David Perez, Perez 835, or you can email me, david@freedompolicy.com, david@freedompolicy.com. I'm a big Facebook guy.
Tell everybody about the Daily D.
Oh, yeah, and you can check us out. Hashtag the Daily D, just the letter D, the Daily D. And I have the Daily D show. If you want to see one of my episodes, we're on our second, going on our third, and I'm going to have Dave now come on real soon here. Okay. We've got the Daily D show, and you can check out one of our most recent episodes, the Daily D, hashtag the Daily D. You can find it on Twitter, Instagram, or even on Facebook. You just type it in, you'll find it. You can find it on my page, man. Thank you so much, Dave, for having me. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you, brother. Have an awesome rest of your day, and we'll talk soon.
You too, brother. Bye-bye.